one.
Disco Inferno. Hold on, buddy. It's all right. I'll edit this out. Hold on. Let me get Disco.
You're on.
I know, but I got to get Disco Inferno. Here we go. Ready?
And folks, tell me when.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, have we got a hot show for you tonight, live from deluxe apartments and houses across the greater Cambridge area, courtesy of Chen Pa Productions. You last saw them sometime in October, just before the first frost, dining outside at the Ball Square Cafe, and they're here for you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Anything Goes with Larry and Ray.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Beautiful.
That's right. Turn that music down, T-Bone.
You notice I can only throw kisses with my left hand. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about your, briefly talk about your, what is it, rotator cuff?
Oh boy, hold on. Look, it has a mind of its own. Yes, I'm in a post-surgical state.
All right. Well, let's go. Beep. Let's back up briefly. What are we doing? What is this? This is 2021 season.
Wow. What? Season 4, episode 4. And I would say we're at approximately total episodes 22.
Pretty good.
In another 78 episodes, we can syndicate.
Thank God. And we'll be raking in at least $4 to $6 a year in syndication. And parlay that into like $20.
All right, maybe we should get something like on the back end, or maybe a percentage of the, the gate. What do you think?
What does Mel Gibson make these days?
I don't think he's really an A-lister at the moment. But
we probably make more than him then, right?
I don't know. Probably not.
And by the way, with the beard, you kind of.
Yeah. Would you say I look more like George Clooney or Sean Connery?
I think you look like Sean Connery maybe a week after his death. You know, we should do a.
That's rough. Okay.
We should do a whole show on Sean Connery, not just the James Bond stuff, but on his career, his illustrious career. But hey, maybe next episode. So anyway, season 4, episode 4. What's been going on, buddy? You look good. Well, I like the beard.
The beard is there out of. I'm actually going to shave it as soon as I can lift my right arm to my full face, but. That's another story. I had shoulder surgery, as I mentioned, 8 weeks ago.
Yep.
Right rotator cuff. And the rehab is like 6 to 9 months. So it's going to be, before I'm at full capacity, it's going to be a while.
Well, you know what they say, half the battle is getting the right shoulder, making sure the surgeons, do they have to mark it? How do you know they get the right shoulder? Or how did they know?
Yeah. I think they put a tag on my toe. No, I'm just kidding. The right toe, the big toe.
As long as it's the big toe. All right.
The pinky toe. Yeah.
Tippy toe. All right. So you had the surgery. You feeling all right in a serious level?
Well, okay. I mean, it's got each. It's a lot of. I have four therapy meetings a week. I have 2 for physical therapy, 2 for occupational therapy because I have a thumb and an index finger problem related to the surgery. But that should go away in time. In about 5 years,
spontaneously give the finger to people. Yeah.
Pardon?
You spontaneously end up giving the finger to people. They don't understand. It's an ailment, it's a real problem.
Yeah. Well, you gotta make do.
Yeah. So that's good. I'm glad you're on the mend.
Yes. So we do have a fantastic guest. We're not going to get quite to the guest yet, but in a few moments, a guest that we had 2 years ago, Brian Corr. We'll talk about him. But before we get to that, do you want to cover a few things that have occurred?
Yeah, I know. I heard through the grapevine that you actually, a guy, and you're trying to get the vaccine. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Right. And you actually, did you really get I heard from somebody that you got a fake ID to increase your age to the point where you're allowed to get a vaccine. Is that true?
Right. Well, a few nights ago, they dropped the eligibility to age 65. So I'm not quite 65, but I'm not that far apart. And with the beard, I can certainly pass for 65.
Absolutely. You could pass for 85 with the beard.
I couldn't before, but so my downstairs neighbor, his son, who's 19, recently got a fake ID, so he could buy booze.
Yeah.
So he offered to take me to his contact in the back of a smoke shop in Brighton, Ralston somewhere.
Really?
And, so I could also get my fake ID just to increase my age as well, so I can stand in line and get a vaccination. And, we were in the back of the smoke shop, and, there was a bit of waiting time because the ink had to dry. So, we lit up a doobie, and here we are. I'm ready to get vaccinated. I think my date is January 26th.
It's good that you mentioned Doobie. You kind of look like Tommy Chong with that beard too. Or is it Cheech? No, Chong, right?
Yeah, Up in Smoke.
Up in Smoke. Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Did
about
you
how
have-
the show is going right now.
Did you have a what's the name of the fake ID? Like, is it McLovin? Is it like a single name?
That's good. No, I went with Geraldo Hecabaya.
That fits right in with the whole beard motif. That's good.
I
I
had to
like
go
what
with
I'm
my real
hearing.
name because I want
Yeah.
to make sure they document me.
Sure.
Yeah.
My people tell me that my company is going to be doling out the vaccine. They already started, actually.
Yeah.
They already started in some of the residences that we run. But personally, I'm going to get it, I think, the 26th of this month.
That's
Just
what I'm
coming
getting
up.
it. Wow.
Yeah.
What a coincidence. Well, mine, I'm not really getting it, but that was just sort of a story I told. Yeah.
Well,
But
Moderna's up the street, so we could maybe
in the front line.
Yeah, I'm right there in the front, literally in the front line, in full gear.
Yeah.
And what's going on with your other endeavor? Now that you have all this time on your hands, you're doing some kind of radio auditions.
So I recently ended my illustrious recruiting career at this particular firm. I was there for 22 years, and I retired. So I'm no longer doing that job. However, I applied the very next day. I got this notification for an opening to be a radio announcer at a local classical music radio station. And the only requirement was that you enjoy classical music, which
you do.
Which I have, this week I actually love classical music. Yeah. So I have to put together a up to 5-minute audio clip of my ability to, introduce the different songs. They gave me a sample playlist, and I put it together, and I'm going to send it in probably this weekend.
Great.
And, up to 25 hours. I'm sure they'll give me the graveyard shift or something like that. So,
well, that's where a lot of great people start. Yeah. Why do they call it the graveyard shift anyway?
Well, I don't know. Have you ever been around Harvard Square between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m.?
A couple of times when I've been locked out of my apartment. Yeah.
Kind of ghostly, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Some weird, wild stuff goes on during the witching hour.
Yes.
That's great. So you know about the movements and the what are they called in classical music?
Well, I know a lot about the greatest composers of all time. Do you know who are considered the top 3 composers of all time?
Beethoven, would he be up there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mozart.
Yes, they like 1 and 2, neck and neck.
Yep. McCartney, no, he came a little later.
Yeah.
Vivaldi.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where he ranks, but like Bach is like in the top 5 as Chopin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you know nothing about classical music, but you're still going to take on this endeavor, which is very noble.
Right. So listen, it's 5:40. We don't have a lot of time. Why don't we jump right into our studio guest? He's back for the second time.
Look who's here. Wow.
He's already here. Wow, here he is, Brian Corr. Brian,
hello.
Like last time, let me introduce you. Some of this will sound familiar, and some of it has been marginally modified. So tonight's featured guest has a passion for peace, justice, and the American way. He is our very own superhero. That's right, and a very busy man.
Very busy.
We last met with Brian in December 2018, so literally almost, a little over a year ago, actually, but it seems a whole lot longer. At that time, he had 3 jobs, but I think he's down to 2, but Brian, you'll correct us, of course. I know you're still the executive director of the Cambridge Peace Commission, I believe. Right?
Yes.
Sure. Good so far. You're doing well.
And however, I'm not sure if you're still, I believe you're now the immediate past president of NACOL, National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. Is that correct? Immediate past
president?
That
is correct. Yep.
And by the
still
way,
on the board for another year.
Yeah.
So I was wondering when they take off the term immediate, because immediate, you can't be the immediate past forever. And at some point, the clock turns and you become just the past president, probably.
Yeah. Well, my successor, she's got till September, and then she becomes the immediate past president, and I just go back to regular citizen. So, and everyone has promised that they will not do anything to the organization to try to keep me in office. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, you do need a break. And lastly, of course, are you still the owner of Cambridge Consulting Services Group?
Such as it is. I don't really do any active consulting, but I have a website, and that's really all that matters in this world.
Oh, tell us what
it's all on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, back before I was working in government, I used to work in nonprofits, and I did a lot of different consulting, fundraising, strategic planning, database development, you name it, I did it. So it's a full service consulting shop / person, and sometimes with music.
That's fantastic. Wow. And Ian, you were also in 2018 when we last spoke. In fact, when we met you at the CCTV anniversary party, you were elected as an honorary board member, I believe, correct?
That's right, of CCTV.
That's right.
Are you still, or do you have a term that has expired, or are you still that honorary board member?
No, I'm doing that until they take the tag off your toe and put it on mine. So.
Okay.
Larry has 10 toes, though, and 10 tags.
Yep.
I only want one.
Yeah.
One other thing I did want to mention, though, when one reason that prompted us to invite you back, not that we didn't want you to come back because we think about it a lot, but this past summer, Ray and our friend Tim had a chance encounter with your friend Katie Chang, and I believe what was occurring at the time is that she had a flat tire. And Ray, being the chivalrous man that he is, that Tim changed the tire for her.
Yeah, I sprung into action and sat in my car and had a sandwich while Tim changed the tire. No, we called AAA for our
back seat while Tim was jacking up the car.
Yeah, really, with one hand. Yeah, that's the kind of guy I am.
No, she was very impressed with your help, and when how should I say this? So I have about 200,000 unread emails in my Gmail. So sometimes I do get a little bit behind, but she said, you have to respond to these guys. They saved my life, and so you have to help them out. So, and it's just getting me back on the list.
And here he is.
Very, what's the term, Larry? Serendipitous, supercilious?
Supercilious.
Yeah, something like that. It begins with an S, one of the S things. But yeah, she's a sweetheart. We hung out. It actually took AAA like 4 hours to get there. So we had a chance to get to know her. Very, very sweet person. And plus it's Cape Cod. It's the summer. What could go wrong?
That's right. Other than a flat tire.
Yeah.
How did Brian's name even come up in conversation?
That's a great question. I think we talked about the cable show, maybe our show, and talked about guests. Talked about I think because she was involved with various political things and causes and such, and Brian's name came up as a very prominent player in the greater Cambridge area.
Wow.
So,
well, why don't we? Who is that? Can I meet him?
Yeah, we'll get to know him eventually. No, and then I think Katie had already planned to have lunch with you like a day or two, over the next few days or something. Yeah. So it all sort of came together. So it's really nice. We're like, we had Brian on the show. We know he's a busy guy, but we'd love to have him back. And here he is.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. What's that?
Go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just saying I'm glad to be back. I love this latency thing. I wonder if this is how our brains are going to function after the pandemic, where it's like, wait, I can hear everyone talking. That's really weird. They should be on mute.
It's very strange. Yeah, this whole thing. I want to talk about that a little bit. But first of all, did you have any trouble finding the studio today?
No. It's just sometimes it's hard to find the exact right link to get to Mass Ave, but I was able to do it.
Yeah. So anyway, Larry, hop in there. Do you want to ask Brian?
Yeah. So I think we already asked the first question, but let's ask it again. Just to refresh, actually we didn't really ask it, but if you don't mind, just refresh us on your role as Peace Commissioner, because it's obviously what's going on in the world today. It's probably, I don't know if your role is taking on more different paths or more prominence, but if maybe just refresh us on what's new as the Peace Commissioner.
Sure. So it's been, quite the year, and so I actually have two roles at the city. I also do civilian oversight in the Cambridge Police Department. So I'm the director of the Police Review and Advisory Board and the Peace Commission. So with the Peace Commission, a lot of what we do was in-person programs, everything from Martin Luther King Day commemoration at St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Central Square to rallies and vigils in the wake of traumatic events. And so we're not really doing things in person. And that has meant that a lot of my work has actually moved into different realms. So I've had some assignments from the city to help organize a group of people to reach out to seniors in Cambridge. So I think we didn't realize we were supposed to call you, Larry, but we'll make sure that we add you to the list so there's no confusion. But really, we were just checking in with. That's right. As a little aside, it's interesting because I never thought that people would be getting fake IDs to get drugs, and those drugs would be vaccines. But there you go. It's a brave new world.
There is a trend.
I'm anxious. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So
He's very anxious.
that's right. Yeah, I'm fired up and ready to go. So you're going to get your shot. Don't worry.
I know.
But it's really it's been actually a real honor, in all seriousness, to be able to do work to help reach people who might have been sort of shut in, needed resources. And we talked about 7,000 people. We had a group of callers, city employees from a whole bunch of different departments, just to check in, got them services. Some people needed groceries. Some people didn't need anything. Some people are saying, "What? I'm only 73. I'd still go to work every day. Why are you calling me?" So it was quite the mix here in Cambridge. But that's been good. And I'm also helping to lead a new committee that the city's just established to do what many places have done, but we want to be proactive. We're looking at markers and monuments in the city to see if they reflect our values or not. And we're not going to go through and do the whole inventory, but we're creating a process. We just had our first meeting last night, and over the next 6 months, we're going to figure out how the city can, forevermore look at what we have and what we might put in so that it really reflects our values of peace and justice. So that's all been great. And then the other part with civilian oversight, I always say we don't get, for a city our size, that many complaints, but people do have negative interactions with the police. Sometimes we're able to mediate or conciliate. Sometimes we investigate, and we've kept that work up. With all of the restrictions, there's been less interpersonal contact, and yet that work is still important. So I just helped out somebody yesterday. I can't give any details, but someone who was really distressed was able to connect them with the right person in the police department and took care of their issue. So, we'd rather fix things and make them right than investigate a problem if we can make it right. And if we need to investigate, we do it. So, been pretty busy. And then talking about the NACOL work, which is connected to the city work, as soon as I get off this, I'm going to switch from this platform to a different platform and log on to the Madison, Wisconsin City Council to talk with them about their brand new civilian oversight board that we've helped them create. Nice. So, it's a busy, busy time, but it's good. I'm glad to be of service and glad to see you guys. So
you look quite balanced, Larry. He's getting there himself.
Fake it till you make it.
I need a pair of glasses like that. That's my problem. I need something that's really gonna make people notice me.
Yeah. Besides the beard. Brian, in all seriousness, what is your take on the climate of the city now, Cambridge? Do you feel, given the events, you have this perfect storm of the pandemic, all the racial stuff going on, the Black Lives Matter, the defunding of the police cries and all this, do you find we're headed in the right direction? Do you see a change already? And if so, is it a good change?
That's a great question. And, I'd say it's a complicated answer because, of course, people are relatively resilient and are able to adapt to change. And it's sort of amazing to me because if you told me the conditions that we'd all be working under and that the city would stay open, the work would continue, I would be like, how could we possibly do that? And we've really made it work pretty well. We can't quite do everything the way we used to, but we've really managed to get people services. And I think more broadly, as you look at the city, the thing I see and we see everywhere is that just tensions are just high. Everybody's on edge. If you think about the disruption and all of the different things that we've had to deal with, not even think about politics because that can be very divisive. Sure. It's a hard time and people have really had challenges. But I think that our city overall has done well, and not just the city government, but as a community. People have really come together and offered support to their neighbors. Funds have been raised to support people that might need funding. People have been very kind and thoughtful, I find, for the most part. And I think the biggest challenge down the road is going to be what happens when we kind of have to go back to normal, because as such as normal will be, because it won't be the same, because everyone will have had different experiences. I find that I am talking to people all day long on the phone and on Zoom, and it's good, but I don't have any sense of being isolated other than I miss hugging people. I'm a peace activist. I like hugs.
Yeah.
And I know there are a ton of people who are very isolated. They're not going to the office. They're not going out of their house very much. They don't see people on the street. I have a hard time walking the 10 minutes from my house to my office without running into somebody. But
Yeah.
that's not everyone's experience. So I think that is really going to be the biggest challenge we face, is reintegrating everybody after they've had such different experiences during this pandemic. Some people have suffered so greatly, and others have been able to live their lives pretty close to what they did before. So
it's a crazy
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, there's no real common thread and consistency. You're right. You could have somebody who's 28 years old who's on the verge of a breakdown, and somebody 85 who's living their dream, and feeling fine.
Exactly.
It's really really strange. And you have people that are afraid to reach out. So it's what you're doing is really knowable and great. What about the
very
vaccine?
kind checks in the mail?
Yeah, well, Larry handles all the money. As you can see, it hasn't gone to razors, but that's another story.
I'm sorry, you had a question.
What is your take on, you're out there a lot, obviously, you've got your pulse on what's going on in the city. And I know there's a lot of deep-rooted reasons why people are anti-vaxxers, people are suspicious about, the vaccine. There's issues about even getting the vaccine from point A to point B. What is your feeling, and how Cambridge itself is doing with the vaccine, implementation? Or do you feel that, like in my company, for example, only 30% of our staff right now are signing on that really want the vaccine? I don't know if that mirrors, and there's a lot of reasons for that. It's cultural reasons, other reasons, but what is your take on how we're doing in Cambridge with that, with the vaccine?
Well, my knowledge is relatively limited. I know that from the city side, we've just started that phase 1 with first responders. So I believe it was just Monday that people started getting vaccinated through that program. So there hasn't been a mass sign up yet, just because, this is one of the things about the pandemic. It never stabilizes. Every week something changes, the plan changes, and it's necessary. It's not because people are bad or not doing their jobs. It's just things change and things are difficult to do. So most people I talk to are at this point looking forward to the vaccine. I would say even a month ago, I heard a lot more concerns, and especially among communities of color, and in particular African Americans, because of all of the history and the present. We've all heard the stories. I won't go through them now, but and as I've talked to people more and more, and people learn more about the vaccine, and they understand that it wasn't just created at warp speed, but the research goes back to the SARS epidemic that really didn't blow up the way they thought it might, but that started the work. It's led to places like Moderna, which actually, it's funny. If you think about Moderna and you look at it, it's mode RNA, right? So it's an RNA vaccine. This is a whole new technology, and it was developed right here in Cambridge, right? So it's this fascinating thing where we as a community have all of these resources, we're doing it, and we're sharing it with the globe. And so at first, I was more concerned, but I know that from every conversation I've been having, more and more people are understanding the nature of it, and they're talking to their doctors. But it's really granular. A lot of it's one-on-one conversations, or trusted people who can tell people, here are the facts. I understand your concern, and look at what's happening and what happens to people who get COVID, and think about how important it is to take care of yourself and make sure that you're healthy and those around you are healthy. So we're getting there, and I'm saddened to hear that only 30% of your company has signed up, but I hope they will continue to sign up. And in my role, I don't have a direct job to get people the vaccine, but if I can be helpful in connecting you with resources around explaining the vaccine to people and why they should consider taking it, I think we've learned that trying to force people to take it is not necessarily ideal, but helping people to address their concerns, be heard, be listened to, and then respectfully given information to help them make a decision. So anyway, hopefully that's not too long of an answer, but that's where I am.
Like Larry always says, when we were, going through grammar school, instead of reading, writing, and arithmetic, it should be reading, writing, arithmetic, and empathy, because we don't really, people really don't understand like how to utilize empathy and really understand where people are coming from to learn and stuff. So Larry, any additional comments as we close?
Oh, we're closing? Wow.
What time is it? How are we doing?
Well,
I have 5:56.
Okay, we have about 30 seconds then.
I think we have to
okay.
cancel then. Oh, yeah. Hit it.
Let's do the outro.
Sounds like Julie Greenberg. Nice. Thank you. Thank you, Brian, for joining me.
What a great way to end the show.
Great guest as always.
Something upbeat.
Okay.
Hey, I can't wait till we can do this in person.
I know.
Fantastic. Yep. Hopefully in the future. When we don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
God knows how long Larry's beard will get. So.